Huge victories for LGBT candidates across the country, but Republican officials in Louisiana just made it easier than ever to fire someone for being queer. New allegations have emerged about Roy Moore assaulting young girls with just 1 month left before a special election. Plus, the Senate has finally spoken out on the violence in Chechnya, but there's still no action from the White House. We'll have all that and more on Weekly Debrief. It was exactly 40 years ago that Harvey Milk became one of the first openly gay politicians elected to office. And in a fitting tribute, queer candidates won elections around the country this week. Seattle gets its first lesbian mayor, Palm Springs City Council is now 100% queer, and at least 7 openly trans people won elections. This didn't happen by accident. It happened thanks to strong leaders at the top of the campaigns, and also thanks to citizens voicing their support and volunteering on behalf of those candidates. But there's also some bad news. Louisiana's Republican Attorney General Jeff Landry just got a non-discrimination policy overturned statewide. Louisiana has no law preventing queer people from being fired, but Governor John Bel Edwards implemented a policy protecting government employees. Attorney General Jeff Landry challenged the rule, and this week a court ruled in his favor, wiping out those limited protections. That's likely to be appealed, but in the meantime, queer government workers can now lose their jobs at any time. Also this week, the U.S. Senate passed a resolution condemning the violence against gay men in Chechnya almost a year after reports of abuses started to emerge. The Trump administration, including the State Department, is still silent. They claimed in September that the Secretary of State wrote a letter to Chechen authorities, but so far have refused to release a copy of the letter. So for now, congressional resolution is the only visible action that the U.S. has taken. Following this week's victories for queer candidates, now's a good time to start planning for the next election. But that isn't a year from now, it's in 1 month. Disgraced Judge Roy Moore, who tried to block marriage equality in Alabama, faces a special election for U.S. Senate in early December. It was looking likely that he would win, but this week multiple women came forward to reveal that he'd pursued relationships with them when he was in his 30s and they were in their teens. Is that enough to derail Moore's candidacy? We'll find out in a month. Moore's rival in the election is Doug Jones, a civil rights attorney with a long record of fighting for equality. He's narrowly trailing Roy Moore, but with these new accusations and the strong progressive showing in last week's election, there's new momentum behind his campaign. This week's action item is to head over to DougJonesForSenate.com. You can volunteer, donate, sign up for his list, and follow him on social media. This week proved that good candidates, strong organizing, and vocal support can win elections for candidates who care about equality. We've got 1 month to make sure that momentum continues to the next election. And one more way you can do that is by sharing this video. Please help get the word out about the next election, leave your comments on YouTube, and get in touch at Matt Baum on Twitter. And I'll debrief you next week.